What is up, Sooner Nation? Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, all the dads out there. Hope you had time to celebrate today with your family and be with them and hang out with your kids. It's a great day, and happy Father's Day to everybody. Ron, you should not be mowing on Father's Day, bro. That should not be happening, Ron. Man, I hope you had a good day other than the mowing. And before we get kind of going with this live tonight, make sure you go to the Fan Stop. Check them out, fanstop.com. You'll see the links in our description of this video that has the national championship shirts there at Fan Stop for OU softball. You got the four-piece shirt in the gray there. You also got the crimson shirt, the national championship. Check them out. Links are in the description. Father's Day today. I watched the golf tournament today, and it was awesome. And we're not going to talk about golf very long, but I want to talk about something. Bryson DeChambeau is very entertaining to watch, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm a huge Tiger Woods fan. I usually don't watch golf tournaments if Tiger Woods isn't in contention as much. But Bryson has me hooked. I'm telling you, his YouTube channel, he's went over to Live, and I'll say one thing about Live. It has changed some players a little bit for when they get his attitude towards the fans. I mean, signing a kid's hat, daring around. I mean, unbelievable. I was entertained, Hunter.
Yeah, man of the people. I mean, if you saw it yesterday, sticking around well after his round was over to sign everything for everyone. Today, I mean, he was about to take a shot. A fan yelled something at him. He stopped, looked back, and then smiled and then went on. I mean, it's really fun to watch. I mean, he's been playing some great golf. Good for him to finally get another major win. This year, he's been in top 10 all three majors.
And then Rory he kind of fell apart there. And here's the thing about Rory.
I'm not a Rory fan.
The fact that he didn't stick around and at least shake his hand, I thought was
this has been a yearly thing for Rory McIlroy. I mean, if you remember back in 2022, PGA Championship in Tulsa, him making the comments about Tiger, he just had a terrible final two rounds. Threw a fit, wouldn't talk to the media on his way out. I mean, kind of the same thing today. Just not shocked by it.
The last thing I'm going to say about golf, if you have the golf channel, if you have that channel, you can find it on Twitter also, but I was watching it. You have to go watch the Johnson Wagner on Golf Channel out of the bunker. Hunter, have you seen it?
I have not.
Okay, do you ever watch Johnson Wagner on the Golf Channel? He practices shots that are hitting, and he usually flops them. It's hilarious. He's really good. It's almost like watching Charles Barkley on TV. He's really good. It's a really good. Go watch it because he's out there doing it, and Bryson pulls up to the bunker. He was doing recreating the shot. Bryson pulls up this late at night. It's great. Go watch it. But anyway, let's move on. Portal news. No. Have not got the official release of Cannedy in the portal. Yes, everybody thinks she's in the portal. No, we have not got the official release yet. I expect that to be in the morning when you get that. If she's indeed in the portal, I think tomorrow would be the day you would get that. So that should be coming through tomorrow. And then, we'll have a video right out after that happens. I can promise you about all that news and where we think she might end up and all that. So we'll see. Thanks, Braden. Appreciate that. I did see this too, Grey God, another PWO for Oklahoma. And the recruiting trail is heating up for Oklahoma. And specifically this last weekend, you had some big-time visitors in Norman. Michael Fasusi, Oliver. You saw a lot of Twitter stuff today popping with visits. And pictures from visits. And one really intriguing one, Hunter, Elijah Melendez out of Miami. Well, he's committed to Miami, Florida. And linebacker and looks the part. And maybe they can flip him, Hunter.
Yeah. I mean, if you saw the Twitter post, quite the photo remake with him and Zach Alley of Dwayne Wade and LeBron back in Miami, the alley-oop. So, really talented linebacker to even get him on campus at this point, committed to Miami. That would be another steal of Oklahoma from a Miami either lean or commit. I mean, it seems like over the past few years they have done very well recruiting against Miami. You remember the Brent Venables, a little bit of a jab last year, Big 12 Media Days
Yeah.
to the U. So something to watch there.
Hey, and Richard said she's in. Are you just saying that, like, or did you see something? We all listen. The fact is, we all know. Yeah.
Real quick, San Francisco Chronicle just tweeted it out. They put out an article. So
yeah, there's a lot of articles. I'm just saying you have not seen the.
But that's a pretty big.
Oh, I agree.
In San Francisco.
I agree. She's in. I'm just saying you haven't seen it where her paperwork's come through is what I'm saying. You've seen she's plans to enter the portal. She's going to enter the portal. You have not seen the paperwork is in. She's in the portal. Correct?
Correct.
That's all I'm saying.
In my opinion, I mean, I don't consider it official till the player says it or somebody like D1 Softball America, extra innings. One of those.
I expect that to break in the morning.
Yes, I do as well.
So that's kind of what we're waiting on there. Thanks, Robert. Appreciate that. What was I going to get to? Oh, this. Ron. Oregon may flip Fasusi from Texas. Hey, Texas has a guy committed named Brandon Brown, 4-star defensive lineman. Oh, he's committed to Texas. He's visiting Oklahoma this weekend. So there's that. That's interesting. I know he's still taking visits as he's committed to Texas. That's one thing I really like about Brent Venables' policy. Once you're committed, if you take a visit, you're no longer committed. You see it at a lot of other schools where they're committed and they take other visits. I like his policy on that. So we'll see on that. That's another name to watch, though. I mean, he is visiting Oklahoma, so we'll see. But Melendez looks really good, and they need linebackers. I mean, they could use another linebacker.
Yeah, right now, all that's in the class for Oklahoma is Marcus James out of Carl Albert. So a pretty good linebacker room to begin with. I mean, you're looking at guys that next year for that 25 season, a good amount of them should be juniors and a couple seniors in that class. So not the end of the world, but another linebacker. I mean, I don't think you can ever complain about having too many talented linebackers.
Yeah, and I see this stuff on the offensive line. I don't think OU strikes out 0 for 4. I think they get 1 for sure. And I think that's the one thing about NIL that kind of prevents teams from getting I think you can, if you lose 1 or 2, you can put more money at one other person, right? And go all in per se on one person. So I don't think they're going to lose all 4 of those guys that we're talking about. Bouchard, I don't know if I pronounced his name right, but yeah, he was also in town visiting. That's another name. So correct, Sooner Cowboy. And I think there's a good possibility there. I really do. What was I going to get to up here? This. An OU opponent, coach, player you found yourself hanging. Oh, I saw this all over Twitter today, Colin. I'll have to think about that one for a second. Respect for. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. Give me a second to think on that. I can't think of one off the top of my head. So, Greg, I think it'll be difficult to get him away from Texas. Are you talking about Fasusi, Bobby? I think you're talking about.
I believe that's what they're talking about is Michael Fasusi.
Liberty, Richardson from Liberty. I'm thinking more football and I tell you, a lot of people may not remember this name, but OU in football, they had a pretty good rivalry with Iowa State back when early years of Stoops, and there was a quarterback. What was his name at Iowa State? Gosh, somebody's going to remember this. He went to the NFL and played backup. What was his name? Golly, this is going to bother me now, guys. This is really going to bother me because I bring it up and now I can't think of his name. But I'll think of it. Cynical Wallace. I knew a Surgeaholic, man. I knew a Surgeaholic would get it. Yes, Cynical Wallace. I don't know why. I respected him a lot. And I thought he was an outstanding player. And I just think he could never get over the hump there with Iowa State. I really respected his game big time. I know that's a random name, guys, but that's what came to my hand for some reason. Sooner Cowboy says OU gets Patusi. I do love and Bama gets Haywood. I do think those two will be split. They're not going to the same school.
If those two are going to the same school, that's going to be a very offensive line. I mean, two of the best tackles, 2 5-stars, a few years down the road, probably first-round picks on the same offensive line. That would be a scary duo.
Haywood is A&M, and by the way, I'm going to the Georgia Strait crowd in A&M was unbelievable. I mean, 110,000 people.
See the people saying that's how they're paying off Jimbo Fisher?
Hey, who knows? Good possibility of that.
Real quick, Texas A&M last night, baseball. Did you see stuff their fans were doing?
I don't give a flip about Texas A&M and the way they do that.
Not even that. I mean, they had 2 fans get thrown out of the place because they were screaming just crazy accusations that Kevin O'Sullivan.
It really makes you. I think all Texas A&M fans get that stereotype because of people like that.
Yeah,
you know,
well, the whole ball 5 thing. Like when they're actually throwing balls, okay. I mean, it gets in the pitcher's head. But last night they do it after an intentional walk.
Hey, yeah,
it was striking. They start clapping. Yeah, you're clapping because you got called for a strike down the middle. Like, for real?
Yeah, it was bad. And Chester, I'm going to disagree with you here, Chester. I appreciate the comment, but I'm going to respectfully disagree because when you're talking the number one player at a position and you don't land him, he might land him, he might not, but I don't think that's just, BB is not an elite recruiter because he didn't land him. I think talk to me after the whole class is done. Now, if they go over, right, we'll see. But I think he had a really good class last year. I think he's going to have a good class this year. Now, Fasusi, we will see on that. But I don't think you can say that would be like Bates missed out on Nari's not elite. But what else did he get? Right, Hunter? I mean, so you can miss out on 1 or 2, but you got to get other guys.
Yeah, right now they have Owen Allen back. Going to be, I think, a 4-star. Ryan Foje. He is a 4-star right now at this point in time. You look at the class he had last year. I mean, he missed out on a lot, but arguably his best class he's had at Oklahoma, even after missing out on some of the top names. I mean, that's kind of just the world of recruiting.
And Chester,
it's hard to land those top-rated guys.
Yeah, and Chester, I'm with you on the SEC. There's no more excuses. I agree, but you can't say one guy makes your whole recruiting class. Talk to me after the recruiting class and see who they land on offensive line, and then I would come back to this question. But I'm not going to say if they don't land Fasusi, it's a failure of an offensive line class. I can't say that. I just can't until I see what they get, right, Hunter? And then also, Robert, projections for next year if OU doesn't land Norman, this is once again, come back to me after the portal's over because I do think Oklahoma needs a pitcher in the portal for next year. I don't think you can go in with Audrey Lowry, Kirsten Deal, and Peyton Monticelli without another really good pitcher. I think you have to go get a good pitcher out of the portal. We'll see who's available. It closes tomorrow. There's no name in there right now that I'm thinking, woo, great. Right, Hunter? Now, you do have grad transfers that can transfer at any time, just like Kelly Maxwell did. If you remember, she transferred back in July. So you do have that if you don't land somebody out of the first portal part. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, calling real quick. Bray Walker, last 5-star that was out of high school for Bill Beaton.
He didn't pan out either.
No, it did not.
I mean, so we'll see what happens. I just think, Chester, I understand, and I'm with you 100% on the lesser talent in the SEC. You got to have the best, and you got to start recruiting the best. And OU's done that, in my opinion, over the last 2 years. They've been top 5. And I think you have to keep doing that, and you have to do it in the trenches. Power line last year, you had a good offensive line too. This year, you got to have another good O-line class. You have to follow last year. By the way, EPL, guys, I think, I don't know, maybe this year. He may get in there this year, Hunter.
I think I would be with you if EPL
If
was
he's early enrolled.
Early enrollee.
Yeah, I know, but
it's tough at this point in time. But you also have Eugene Brooks, who's just so good, such a talented interior offensive lineman in that class. I mean, it was a really good get. I mean, Daniel Akinkumi as well, very talented 24 class for Bill Bedenbaugh.
Yeah, and Sooner thinks he will enter after one season. We'll see. I think a lot of it depends. Well, I'll say this. I think if you wanted to play that game, Sooner Cowboy, there's going to be guys like that go 1 year, get paid big time, enter the portal, go get paid even more. We all know the portal bucks are bigger, right? We've heard players even say that. You enter the portal, you get a lot more money than if you would stay, correct? So I do think there will be players do that because you can bake more money probably that way. It just, what are you made up of personality-wise and characteristic-wise to do that, right? I think that's what it is. Is that what you want to do? Chase out? You want to develop to go to the NFL and get paid big, big time? It just depends on the player, but I think there will be people do that.
Yeah, I agree. It's short-term money versus the long-term second NFL contract.
And Hunter, let's go back to this question because the rule specifically states, explain that specifically as far as windows.
Okay. You can transfer within the SEC and not have to sit out a year as long as it's not in the spring window. That is the big thing. You can do it when it's the end of season window, which is that December to January window between semesters.
Correct.
You can do that transfer play, no issue. The issue is when you're doing it after that because you're going through spring ball, you're already in the process of the next season. You can't transfer that way. So
and
I know that's a little confusing at times, but I think it's a rule that kind of needs to be there.
Hey, Colin, you can 1,000%. There was a lot of talk on that she was entering, and then she entered. I think we're all sitting there saying Kennedy's entering the portal. I think everybody's saying that. All we're saying is it's not, the paperwork hasn't shown up officially, right? Or hasn't come out yet. Yes, everybody said she's entered, but we're just saying until you see the softball portal or Softball America say her name is in the portal. There you go. Not because there's a difference. You see plans to enter the portal and then entered the portal and it's official.
I do think the rumors with Nari Cannedy were much bigger than Jordy Ball leaving. Because Jordy Ball, it was pretty quick. This is drug out now about a day and a half or so. I mean, Jordy Ball was the night before.
It takes about 48 hours for that name
to I understand. Well, it depends on the university, really. They have 48 hours to get it all turned in for you.
Hey, what is your feeling, Hunter, on, and I want the viewers to put theirs in here too, percentage she would come to OU over any other school?
I don't know about a percentage. I mean, I think she's going to an SEC school.
Okay, I know a lot of people think she's coming to OU for sure, but Texas, I think, is a team to watch. Florida's another one.
There's just so much with it all. Do you want to be the absolute ace,
or you want to be innings?
Yeah, well, see, even if she wanted to be the ace and not have to pitch the innings that she pitched at Stanford, I mean, Oklahoma's a pretty good option for that. With the other talent they have in the pitching department. So it's not the same type of deal. I mean, Kirsten Deal's going to get a lot of innings regardless of if Nari Cannedy transfers to OU or not. Peyton Monticelli's probably going to get a good amount of innings. Audrey Lowry, maybe even. So But you look at Texas, I mean, they already have 3 really talented pitchers, for next year. Florida, I mean, Rothrock, uh,
Yeah.
Tennessee, same type of situation.
And Robert, but that's the thing. You could go to it. Listen, you can go to a school with another really good pitcher and team up and not have to pitch as many innings, right? I, I just think it depends on the player. And nobody knows her mindset. That's the thing. We talked about this before. Nobody knows what her mindset is. Nobody knows except her family, probably, what she's thinking about doing.
And if she puts out a post, with some kind of letter, about the decision, you might be able to tell a little bit more from that, what direction she's wanting to go.
We get a comment here. Does she wait until she sees who OU gets out of portal to decide?
I mean, there's not really anyone else.
Well,
I
there's
mean,
no other pitcher right now that I
no,
think.
the top pitchers in the portal have already committed, and
Yeah.
a couple of them are going to Stillwater. So, uh, uh, I mean, maybe catcher, like I see you say, there.
Why would she care? Why would she care who's going to OU? She'd be the ace no matter what. Why would she care?
I mean, catcher maybe is a position that you could care about, but I don't think that that's going to be the case. I mean, I think if that's the case, then same is going to be said just about anywhere but Texas, because you have Reese Atwood catching.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. How I do think. I mean, yeah, we'll see tomorrow. Name enters as far as everything, and then visits happen this week. We all know Patty said there's going to be 3 or 4 visitors this week, so we're kind of waiting on who that's going to be. I don't know about this. How many other Stanford players follow to the portal? Here's the thing. You better get in there because it closes tomorrow. So I don't know on that, because unless you're a graduate transfer, your name has to be in. So it won't take long, Mark, for that to happen, because it just won't. And NIL is a real thing in softball too. So, and everybody's going to want her.
I think as soon as the name is officially in the portal, just about every team that was in Oklahoma City last year, every team that was in a super regional is going to be calling and trying to get the ball rolling on a visit or a possible commitment.
405 boy, I did play baseball. Yep. Played shortstop most of my life. Let's see. Yeah, she attended Patty's camps. Most players do, though. Most really good, talented players. Hey, Corinna, thanks for joining. Appreciate you joining tonight. We did a video, or I did a video, I believe, on this a few days ago. I do think, in fact, I think it was a week ago, I mentioned this as, I think, a good get for Oklahoma, and I think they would pursue. So I do think that Kaylee Wyckoff would be an absolute great get for Oklahoma. I talked about, I think they need a catcher. They really do. I know you have Corey Hicks and Riley Zakay. Both are catchers, possibilities. They're both incoming freshmen. I think they get somebody with some experience there. So I think Kaylee Wyckoff's a great option. I mean, all Big 12 first team, Big 12 freshman of the year 2023, really good batting average, good defensive player. I think she'd be a great get. I look for her, and also Riley Holtorf out of Washington, shortstop. I think that's a name to watch as well. As we get to visits this week, we'll see what happens. Ron says 50% on Wyckoff. Yeah. Oh, Mike, not Mike White. I see what you're saying. Number 1 recruit out of portal. She has her decision. It could be UCLA, FSU, or some other choice for. Yeah, nobody knows yet. We'll see. We'll see what happens over the next week, I think. Do they need to fill? I would think they would. I mean, necessarily you don't need to, I don't think, but I think they will. Don't you, Hunter?
I agree. I don't see a reason why you don't fill them.
I don't either.
I mean, honestly, you may as well fill those spots, because injuries can happen. I mean, 21 spots already, I think that's a pretty low number to begin with. I think you may as well just fill them all. You're probably not going to use all 21, but you can also add, I mean, you have 8 freshmen incoming. You can add some more veterans. I mean, this class, 25 class, senior class for Oklahoma is Sydney Sanders. That's it. So you could add a little bit more of veterans to the roster.
Yeah. Next year's season will be interesting. And I just think we'll see. And the OU fans will not know what to think if they, I mean, remember this year when they lost a couple games in a row, it was like the sky is absolutely falling.
Oh, when they lost to Louisiana, I mean,
Oh my
when the
gosh.
streak was
So,
snapped, it was the absolute end of the world. The Texas
yeah.
series was also the end of the world. Oklahoma State. Uh, I mean, I think there was a few more.
Hey, Monty, she can
Lost.
play multiple positions. I think first base is a great spot for her. So we'll see. You got Sydney Sanders still there, though. But I tell you, when Sydney Sanders leaves the next year, you got Ella Parker that can play over there. Also, Corey Hicks plays catcher, and she's first baseman as well. So there's options. No chance, Colin, that's happening, I bet. Jocelyn Erickson coming back. I don't think there's any chance of that. Now, there is people talking about players like S.J. Guerin and Quincy Lilio, even though they've entered the portal, staying. Now, I believe Lilio entered last year and stayed.
That is a
So
possibility.
it is a possibility on stuff like that. So end of the world. Is that because I said sky is falling?
He's joking. I think
Yeah.
he's
Yeah. I know you're talking about Robert. Did have a lot of home runs. I do, Jimmy, I do kind of agree with this. I think part of it this year was you had all the seniors and they had one loss last year. You expected everything to be the same. And there will be a little more of a, I think, hold off, be a little bit hesitant. Fans will be this next year because of the young talent, right? I do see the incoming freshmen getting a lot of playing minutes. I expect 2, maybe 3 to play about like Ella Parker and Pickering did this past year. I think
yes.
2 or 3 could get as much playing time as them.
I think Nelly Macro Marinas, redshirt freshman, is going to be starting, and I think you're also going to see possibly 3 true freshmen starting or playing, kind of platooning or alternating in and out to make up some starting spots.
Hey, Mark says should we expect more commits after the camps? I think he's talking about the football. You're gonna start seeing some more commits. I mean, I know the defensive end Smith Arogbu announced July 1st he's committing. I think he's between OU, Texas Tech. I can't remember the last school, but that would be. I think there's a really good chance OU lands him. He's a 4-star defensive end, I believe, announcing on July 1st. So that's pretty close to now. And there's some other ones. I do think for this class now, I think there's another 2026 guy that might commit soon, but we're talking 2025. So we'll see if they get any more. I think there will be some other ones. Bland, I think Bland will play, Damon. I see Bland playing outfield and playing a lot.
Yeah, unless Oklahoma were to somebody massive enter the portal and say commit to Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm. Jerm for sure does not want to talk 2028 class because we all know his opinion on that. Tyler, yes, they did get a 6'1" safety. Was it Devin Owen? I think was his name. PWO just committed tonight. I agree, Bobby. I agree 1,000%. I think this thing's a done deal by mid-August, probably. I think it's done. Don't you, Hunter?
I think it's for
maybe. You think
maybe,
to a school by
maybe one or 2 more of those 5 stars if they want to drag it out like 5 stars normally do. But I think the class is going to be pretty much done by the start of the season.
Yeah, and Lori, he's on a mission trip. So wish him luck on a week-long mission trip. He'll join when he can. Hey, Kendall Wells is actually 2025. Break it now. I agree. She's a really awesome catcher, but she doesn't come in till 2025. But okay. Uh, Sooner thinks they flip 1 to 3 guys. If there's a guy right now, I'm saying OU's flipping. Now, the ones we talked about tonight, you mentioned Brandon Brown from Texas, and then Melendez from Miami. My money would be on Melendez. I just think it seems like Brent Venables in Miami, it seems like he has a pretty good winning percentage in that, right, Hunter?
Yeah, Brent Venables, not a Miami fan. That's for sure. He's recruited very well against them last year in the 24 class, and now to get a Miami commit to come on a visit this year in the 25 class. Wouldn't be shocked if Venables flips another one.
Yeah, and that you never know. That could be pretty soon when something like that happens. When they after a visit, I think a lot of times that first 48 hours after a visit, if you can get one of those committed, I mean that's when it happens a lot of times. They see enough to really want to do it, and they just commit, right? Uh, yeah, Colin. You know, I mentioned this a few weeks ago, but I kind of think a lot of that's smokescreen with Edenfield. I really do. I think it's more of a. I don't think there's any fire with those rumors personally.
I think it's sometimes people retweet and like stuff, and that's just what it is. I mean, I don't think she's transferring. I think if she was going to, it would have already happened.
Yeah, and Jeremy, there's 0% chance that's happening, and especially the way he talks about recruiting, I don't think he'd be there. But yeah, I like Edenfield a lot. I just don't think that's going to happen. And Karina, I don't know. I mean, I could guess on some names, but it's all speculation, so I don't know if I want to do that. But we did a video a few days ago you can watch. We covered some names that are in the portal that maybe OU would be interested in. But anything else you want to say to that, Hunter?
Yeah. I mean, I think there'll be some announcements about visits at some point this week. I think we should end it on this, Jay.
That's a great question. We've talked about that before.
First visit, last visit. I think in the recruiting world, portal, you want to be the first visit. But high school recruiting, I'm kind of thinking last visit there.
I want first visit every time.
Every time, okay.
That's just I think before NIL, maybe last visit. But right now, the way things are going, I think first. Because I think there's a lot of times if you don't get the first visit, you don't get one. At least if you get the first visit, you get one to put all your stuff out.
I think that's the case in the portal. I think high school visits, it seems like most of the time guys are taking every visit that they say they're going to take.
Hey, but Hunter, let me say this. If your first visit, you can put everything out on the table that you want. You can make them an offer they can't refuse. Right? Even with NIL, this is what we're offering. Nobody's going to match it.
Yeah, but and then they go to another school on a visit, and they say, "Well,
you make them an offer they can't say no to."
So you're saying you're just going to get them to lock in and meet?
If I was on I know it's different than working. If I went to a job interview and this job just wowed me so much, I'm not even checking out another job. It's different. I get it. But I'm just saying, I think it all depends on the player, like Bobby said. It also depends on maybe how much you're willing to go all in on certain players, right? I think that's part of it too, is there may be guys you're willing to go all in. And I think most of the times when that happens, that's when you see guys not take other visits. It's because that school went freaking all in. They did every single thing possible to meet that player's need, and he didn't need to go visit anywhere else. There's other times that maybe there's 3 or 4 players they're after, and, you're trying to figure that out. So I think it is a little different on that.
I get that. I still think high school wise, last visit, because sometimes kids are going to bring up, well, such and such school offered this. Okay, let's see what we can do. to that offer. And sometimes it's I mean, kind of like in baseball, you want to be the home team. You want to be the last opportunity uh, on those visits.
Yeah, I get both sides. I mean, I said all in first every time. I get both sides for sure. There's times when last is the best. I mean, but I do think also just because you don't get the last visit doesn't mean you don't get the last conversation, right? So you're still in communication, but I see what everybody's saying. So yeah, hey, appreciate you guys so much tonight. We're at 35 minutes. Appreciate you guys. Great conversation tonight, as always. You guys always bring the heat in the chat, so appreciate it. Also, make sure you check out fanstop.com. Check out the national championship shirts for softball. Go order one. Great looking shirts, 4-piece shirts and the regular national championship shirt, officially licensed. Appreciate you guys. Happy Father's Day. Have a good night.